this video, I'm going to cover foreign military decorations. Now, you may or may not know this, but a lot of our allied countries, specifically in Europe, but also throughout the world, are known for awarding certain decorations to U.S. military members after participating in several events or challenges or certain historical ceremonies. And in this case, of course, the U.S. military accommodates that by allowing certain military badges to be worn. They are sanctioned by the U.S. military to be worn in the uniform, and they follow that format. And obviously, in most cases, we're talking about your service dress uniform. Now, I'm going to talk about the Air Force, but for the most part, this rings true with the other joint services. Now, why do I bring this up here in this platform? Is because Europe is a great place to get a lot of these decorations, these foreign decorations, because NATO and other historic reasons. A lot of our strongest allies are in Europe, and we have, through NATO, participated in a lot of exercises, multinational or coalition exercises and other events. And so sometimes they'll even serve with foreign national members, such as a NATO assignment or something up in Belgium as Supreme Headquarters Allied Powers in Europe, or SHAPE as it's also known. So if you have this opportunity to participate in one of these military challenges or one of these different ceremonies, you should definitely go for it. It's just really neat as far as your decoration, because there's definitely more story to just the standard military ribbons and decorations and medals that you might, or badges that you might get from, the typical 4-year, 6-year service. So where do you start? Well, the first place to start is to look at the AFI 362903. And 10.2, it actually describes what's allowed in the Air Force. And it's kind of vague, like most guidance is, right? But the gist of it is that you can wear them. It just has to be within that criteria. And in most criteria, it can be a ribbon, it can be a badge to a point, but you can only wear one. And you can even wear the sash, and certain militaries grant a sash. I'll cover that here soon. But the point is that the biggest trouble that you're going to have is you're going to fight your MPF or your military personnel flight to get this stuff added to your records. And even once you do that, you're going to feel like you're the first person to ever do this. It's going to be really hard, and I really have struggled with this myself. Now, the first foreign decoration that I actually received was the German Armed Forces Proficiency Badge, or the GAFB. Now, this one's kind of hard if you are very strong in certain areas but very weak in other areas, because it's a multi-event challenge. And you could be really strong at swimming, really strong at shooting or strength exercises or running. But if you're weak in any one of those areas, your score can actually bring you down. And if you can't complete one, then it's a failure, and then you're not going to be able to do it. And the events are pretty varied, right? They're pretty neat in the fact that they kind of cover everything. So the first one was a ruck march. At the time that I did my GAFB, it was a 7.5-mile ruck that was timed, and we were required to carry 45 pounds. Now, I've heard of other people carrying different weight and running different distances. It all depends on what the proctors determine, or what the unit that you are doing it with is willing to support. So yeah, we did 7.5 miles, 45 pounds, and it was hills, so it was very difficult in that regard. That's not that far of a distance for rucking, but the fact that it was timed, it was the difficult part. Then there was a 1,000-meter sprint, so that's pretty straightforward. Everybody still runs under PT test to a point, right? And so you just sprinted 1,000 meters as fast as possible. There was also a shuttle run. If those of you are familiar with the Hammer, which is the new Air Force's PT standard or option, and that's basically a shuttle run back and forth, timed. That one's very straightforward as well. There was a flexed arm hang, so you pull yourself up in the pull-up position and you hold it there as long as you can. That one is good for your strength, your gym rats, but a lot of people had trouble with this because they can't do pull-ups. So the better you can do with that, that's something you can definitely train for. Then there was the swim, and that one was a pass or fail. There wasn't any grading criteria to it, but some people could not complete this because they couldn't swim. And this is where the GAFB kind of like starts getting different than most PT exercises. So you had to swim 100 meters and then you did it in your OCPs or ACUs or ABUs, whatever you have for your issue uniform, and then you had to take it off while in the water while you're waiting. And that sounds like it's not that difficult, or maybe it does, but I can admit that that was very difficult because you're giving up your arms and your legs at a certain point while you're swimming, and that's really difficult. And then the next last event actually was the marksmanship, and so you had to use any weapon that was available for service at that time. In our case, we were given a pistol, an M9 pistol, and we were only, because the unit could only afford the ammunition, 6 rounds per person. You had to get 4 to 6 rounds on target. And for this one reason, I got a bronze, and I was kind of sour about it, but you know, hey, that's what happens. I'm glad to finish the event because out of the 24 of us that started the event, only about 6 or 7 of us probably passed in the end with a bronze. Only 2 people got the gold, and so you know, I'm happy for them. Now, my second and most recent foreign decoration that I received was just completed 2 days ago, and this is why I'm kind of sunburned right now, and that's the Nijmegen. The Nijmegen is offered through the Netherlands, and the Netherlands has a annual 104-year long running Walk of the World, or Nijmegen March. And so what this is a 4-day event in which the Netherlands promotes health through their through this large sanctioned event in the town of Nijmegen, which in some cases is considered one of the oldest towns in the Netherlands. It's very beautiful and it has a lot of historic structures, and the countryside around is very pretty. And so all the local nationals, or all the Dutch that live in the area, basically shut the city down and the surrounding countryside, and people from all over the world, literally all over the world, come and they walk the equivalent of 100 miles. There are different tiers for different participants. So there's a 30-kilometer a day march, there's a 40-kilometer a day march, and there's a 50-kilometer a day march, which comes out to about 120 something miles. And for the military, because this is a military sanctioned event also, the criteria is that you wear a 25-pound ruck, plus food, water, etc. And you have to march it in uniform, and you march all 4 days with an average of about 25 miles a day. So they actually complete the 40-kilometer route. And I have to admit, this is one of the most interesting things I've ever done in my life, because the Dutch people are extremely hospitable, but it's just kind of surreal to just walk that much in uniform, blow your feet out. No matter how hard you train, your feet are going to be in pain. I trained on this while I was on vacation with my family. I trained while, you know, every work day that I could afford it. I'd wake up early at 4 in the morning and get out there and just put some miles in. So my feet were pretty conditioned, and I still had some pretty bad blisters and overall. So I only have 2 foreign decorations, but I definitely want to get more. And you know, I'm not going to chase these or anything like that, but there are a couple that I think are really neat and prestigious. One of them is the Edelweiss Mountain. It's basically like a mountaineering German badge that you can get, and they host those, and I'll hear about those frequently. But the one that really interests me is the Schützenschnur. That's a German marksmanship badge, and you wear a sash. And I know a couple people have gotten this. You get to shoot the machine gun, the service rifle, and the service pistol. And that's a really cool opportunity, and I personally like firearms, so that's definitely something that I'd be aiming for, pardon the pun. But yeah, there are a lot. And so if you go to the Wikipedia page that I kind of showed in the beginning of this video, there are countless foreign decorations. Unfortunately, a lot of these are more historic, and they're more reflective of that wartime where we were, you know, boots on ground in a lot of different occupied countries. But that doesn't mean that that there aren't more opportunities out there. There definitely are, and you can actually get these stateside too. So if you do not get a Europe tour, you do not get a PACAF tour or a PACCOM, that doesn't mean you can't get them. If that nation has a liaison or someone that can proctor that event, and they have a unit there, which those do happen frequently, you can actually get these same decorations in the States. You can be in Arizona, and if there's a German unit there and they're doing a GAFB event, sign up for it. Train for it, though. You know, you're representing your country. this is great camaraderie building experience, and this is also like it serves that esprit de corps that we share with our NATO partners and back, you know, and the other way around too. So be thankful, but also, you know, give it everything you got. So thanks for watching. If you like this material, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. If you have another experience, drop it in the comment box. I know a couple of people that have gotten some foreign military badges. I'd like to hear about it. You know, I may never go airborne. I'd love to, but you know, if you've received a country's airborne wings, that sounds really cool, and I'd like to hear about it. So thank you for watching, and God bless.